Before you can add, subtract, multiply, and divide mixed numbers, the first thing you have to do is understand what a mixed number is. So if you see a number such as 2 1/2, what does that really mean? So the 2 out front is how many whole pieces you have. And then the 1/2 is going to be your partial piece that you still have. So we have 2 wholes, and then we have part of another one. So if we think of these in terms of, say, circles, and I'm really bad at drawing circles, but that's okay. That means that we are going to have the first whole one, the second whole one, and then we cut the third one in half, and we're only going to take half of it. Why this is important is because if we want to add, subtract, multiply, and divide mixed numbers, it's actually easier to take them into what we called improper fractions. Working with improper fractions is so much easier than mixed numbers. In the real world, we usually talk in terms of mixed numbers, but if we want to add, subtract, multiply, and divide, improper fractions are usually easier to work with. Improper fractions are where the numerator, the part on top, is bigger than the denominator, the part on bottom. So if we think of this 2 1/2 number that we were already working with, what if, instead of writing it as 2 1/2, I wrote it all as something over 2? Well, how many halves of a circle do I have here? Well, we have 1/2 here. We're taking both halves of that one, and we're taking both halves of that one. So we're taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 halves. So 2 1/2 is equal to 5 halves. Those numbers mean the exact same thing. Now you're not going to want to draw out the picture every single time. That's going to get annoying, especially if you have like 15 6/9. That's just gross. So a faster way to take mixed numbers to improper fractions, I'm going to show you with an example. So if we want to go from a mixed number to an improper fraction, let's try 4 2/3. So the first thing you're going to do is you are going to take the denominator, 3, and multiply it by your whole number, 4. So we're going to take those two and multiply them. 3 times 4 is 12. Whatever we get from that, we are going to add the numerator. So 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. And then our denominator is going to be the same, 3. So 4 2/3 is equal to 14/3. Let's try one more just to make sure you've got it. Let's try 6 7/8. So we take the denominator 8 and multiply it by the whole number 6. 6 times 8 is 48. And then we add that numerator 7. So 6 times 8 is 48. If we add 7 more, that's 55. So this is equal to 55/8. So when you're adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing mixed numbers, your first step is always going to be to convert them to improper fractions. That's what you have to do first. Since we're already talking about converting between improper fractions and mixed numbers, I'm going to show you how to go the other way too. So to take an improper fraction to a mixed number. And let's just do the same two examples we just did, just to show that we get back to the same thing we started with. So if we start with an improper fraction like 14/3, and we know that's an improper fraction because the numerator, 14, is bigger than the denominator, 3. We're going to ask ourselves, how many times does 3 go into 14? How many times does it go all the way in? Well, 3 times 1 is 3. We can put in more. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. Uh-oh. So we know 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. But I only have 14 to work with, so I can only go all the way in 4 times. So I'm going to have a whole number of 4. Then I ask myself, how many are left over? I was able to come up with 12 of them, but I have 14 total. That means I have 2 left over. And then the denominator stays the same. It was 3, so it stays a 3. So we get 4 2/3 because 3 goes all the way into 14 4 times, and then there's 2 left over. And then let's try this last one. If we have 55/8, we need to figure out how many times does 8 go all the way into 55. Well, I know I can go quite a few times. What's 8 times 4? That's 32. 8 times 5, that's 40. 8 times 6, that's 48. What about 8 times 7? That's 56. Nope, we don't have 56. We only have 55 of them. So this is the one we're going to have to use. So 8 goes into 55 6 full times. So we get 6 as our whole number. We need to figure out how many are left over. So we have 55 total, and we've used 48 of them. So if we do 55 minus 48, gotta borrow, and 15 minus 8 is 7, and we have 7 left over. So that's equal to 6 7/8.